The Saugus Iron Works was established in 1646 and operated until it was shut down in 1668. In that time frame, this industrial first helped move the colonies towards becoming a self-reliant nation by producing goods in the New World. In the 1630s, the Puritan colonies of Massachusetts found themselves with a problem. Fewer ships were coming from England with goods and settlers. This meant that products such as iron were becoming scarcer and more expensive. And iron was something the colonists couldn't do without. It held together their houses and their fishing boats, it made up their tools they needed for farming and cooking, and it was traded with Native Americans and the other colonies. John Winthrop, the Puritan governor of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, knew this and set out to make a way to produce iron. He gathered funds from Puritans supporting investors in England and set to work. The original ironworks consisted of just a blast furnace, which is used to create the iron. The problem with this was it was located in current-day Braintree, which made shipping the iron from the factory difficult and costly. So, an engineer named Richard Leader was sent over from England to help build a new, more efficient ironworks. He picked the location on the banks of the Saugus River and set to work. He used the river to create an intricate system of water wheels to power the ironworks. The ironworks he created was very efficient and produced massive amounts of top-quality iron. To produce all of this iron, they needed a large crew to operate it. This crew was made up of skilled workers and blacksmiths from England and the surrounding towns. Scottish POWs captured in the Battle of Dunbar during the English Civil War were also sent over to do non-skilled labor. These men were usually not Puritans, and this caused problems with the nearby towns. Since these towns were very religious, they did not tolerate the rowdiness of the workers. This was only one of the problems facing the ironworks. It failed to make a profit due to the high costs of labor and goods. The investors from England were unhappy. Richard Leader left the ironworks and soon massive debts piled up. And then, in 1668, the ironworks finally shut down for good and was left to fall apart. In the 1940s, a group of preservationists, led by Roland W. Robbins, began to excavate parts of the ironworks and assemble them in their original positions. The blast furnace, forge, rolling and slitting mill, and dock area are all reconstructed based on the research done by these preservationists. Hundreds of court records, inventories, and accounts of the original ironworks were consulted to help build a replica of the 17th century ironworks. Also at the site is an original 17th century home built a few years after the ironworks shut down. The house was restored to good condition by a famous antiquarian, Wallace Nutting, who is part of the preservationists. Today, the ironworks is one of our nation's national parks and can be visited by anybody for no charge. In the fall of 2007, a massive project was begun by the National Park Service to restore and preserve the wetlands of the Saugus River next to the ironworks. The restoration project removed invasive plants along with gathered sediment so the waterway could be reopened. This helped improve the water quality of the river. The dock and bulkhead in the ironworks was also redone. All of this helped reintroduce native wildlife back into the river and make the park look nicer. Even though the ironworks lived a rather short life, it contributed greatly to the development of the colonies. It was one of the first examples of self-reliance amongst the colonies. It showed that England may not be needed for the colonists' survival. This was also an early example of the melting pot of America. It brought together different types of people because they all needed to make money producing iron to survive in the New World. Without the ironworks, our country could be radically different today.